like I said, it was a great thought.
I hate to be a killjoy, but let's get started. It's 4:00.
Oh, okay.
Hands it back there. All right, it's 4:00. Call the meeting to order. Everybody is present. So if I could have a resolution to approve the minutes from February 11th.
Move it.
Were there minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Have a motion. Do I have a second? Okay, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Going to make Brian Soper's day again. Going to put him first on the agenda. Perfect.
Does anybody have any questions for me? I do have the full resolution.
Guess if no questions, we can go right to the resolutions and go ahead.
The first resolution is authorizing the chair to award the material bids for 2025.
Go ahead with 9. Go ahead with 9 also.
Oh, and authorized to extend bids for the same 2025 year. There are commodities bids, are yearly bids that we use, the towns use in some school districts.
I can move the bundle for PW 8 and 9.
Second, yep.
Does it go up much higher? It depends on what it is. The ones that extended are the same as last year, and we had to rebid 4 different products.
Any other questions from committee or from any other legislators? Otherwise, all in favor of W 8 and 9?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
PW 10 is to authorize the increase of revenue from state snow and ice, which means we've taken in more revenue than we expected. And to increase our salt expenditure line to offset that, just time and materials. So more than one.
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
PW 11 is our yearly roadside and one agreements with the towns that we contract with. There's no increase in the contract for this year, same as last year.
Move that one. Move. Second.
A second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And all the abstentions stand up. Hey, move.
Thanks.
Doug Pierce is here, Al.
There I am. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Sent in the report. I wasn't here last month. Apologies for that. But if you have any questions going back to last month as well, I'll be glad to answer any of those. Busy time for us right now. The soil group worksheets and ag value assessments, that's what usually takes us up to March 1st. Really busy, and we got the grants in for Ag Now Point. We submitted 7 of those. So it's a busy month. Now we're back into training mode, and we did just finish the excavation part at Hoops Park, and then there's a little bit other work to do up there, but we can do that later in the summer or the fall. Glad to answer any questions.
Can you install a bridge over here?
Well, yeah, this one? I don't know. What do you got? We've installed a few bridges, I think, before for the county over the years.
You have.
That's for sure.
Any questions for Mr. Kears? Hearing none. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, we do have some resolutions for buildings and grounds. We can, I don't know, Doug, if you want to present them or if you want me to present them, I don't know where we.
I don't even have them in front of me, to be honest with you.
Okay, that's good. PW1 is authorized the buildings and grounds to hire part-time general labor to replace a part-time general laborer who resigned.
I can move that.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion, any questions? Otherwise, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing nobody opposed, I guess it's carried. Number 2 is to authorize to fill superintendent of buildings and grounds, county buildings and grounds department. Motion?
I move that.
Do we have a second?
Move it.
Motion and second discussion. I guess my question, are we advertising? Are we moving forward with something else or what are we just doing this just to, so we have the ability to hire somebody? I don't know really where we are.
It's already on the county website, the HR website, so it is up. It's available there. I don't know where else it's being promoted right now.
Any other questions? Otherwise, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, carried. W3, enter into a insured maintenance agreement, upstate temperature control for the public safety building HVAC system. Motion?
I'll move this.
I'll second.
I just have a quick discussion and there's probably nobody here who can answer my question. We have HVAC at the public safety building here in this committee. And then we have HVAC unit at the backup center of the COB on JPS committee. So I'm looking at maybe Fred, I don't know. Do you know why that is split up that way?
I'm guessing only because one's tied to the building and one is tied to 911.
Okay,
There's probably no other rhyme or reason for that.
because I think because it's related, the one that's under 911's related to obviously the COB. And probably should go under here. I just didn't know, I'm
Yeah, I'm-
curious, okay.
I'm kind of making it up as I stand there.
I think a lot of people are, that's.
It looks that way.
Don't be afraid of swinging your line.
I think that's how we roll in general.
General, yes.
Okay,
They are legal opinion, also two different vendors.
okay. But they technically are equipment upgrades, maintenance and building maintenance.
Oh, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Different vendors.
Right, the vendor doesn't matter. Yeah,
Okay,
no rhyme or reason.
any other questions? Since this is dealing with the public safety bill and all in favor?
Hi,
Anyone opposed? Carried. Or authorize the legislature to sign a contract with A&M Graphics for signage for 63 Genesee Street. And I'm going to go ahead and lump the next two in with the bundle if people don't mind. The other one is to authorize a contract to Allied Universal for security services in the 63 Genesee Street building. And PW6 is for contract for cleaning services in 63 Genesee Street. So if I could get a resolution for 5, 6, and 7, unless somebody wants them separated.
That 4, 5, and 6.
yeah, 4, 5.
Oh, I'm sorry, up 4, 5, and 6. Got ahead of myself, Fred.
I'll move a bundle. Second.
Separate 5, please. 4, 5, you want to separate 5? Okay. So, resolution is for PW4 and PW6. You have a motion.
PW7. No,
PW7 separate. I got ahead of myself there, Brian. I'm sorry. 4 and 6, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? That's carried. Go back to PW6. It's for the the cleaning service, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
PW5 is security.
Oh, security, I'm sorry.
Now I'm
Hang on.
step back. You wanted which one separated? 5. 5. So 4 and 6 are approved. And we're back to 5, which is security for 63 Genesee Street. Thank you. PW5, a motion?
I'll move it for discussion.
I'll second it for discussion. Discussion.
Is, this is an awful lot of money. Is this something that's bid or we just, get security hired out or
Mr. Fred?
process?
So the
Are you making this up? I just want to know. Are you making this up ahead of time?
No, not.
Oh, okay. Carry on.
Making some. So Amanda O'Grady reached out to the various communities to see who was interested. This was one of, one responder.
One responder.
You only had one.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Kind of what I gathered.
Did it go out for official bid, like, or she just call around, or how did that work?
They're on state contract, I'm almost positive. They're the vendor on state contract.
Got a state contract, she said.
Yes,
Cost.
200, cost is 222
Thousand a year.
120,000 a year.
a year.
I kind of would like to know, particularly if they're on state contract and if this was bid. Like, I'm just curious.
Do you want to
So
push that along or hold it till next month? I guess those are the options.
I would
We
make a
can table it to
motion,
Ways and Means, or we can,
I would make a motion to refer to Ways and Means.
Refer to Ways and Means.
I'll second that.
okay, we have a motion and a second for tabling to Ways and Means. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Now 7. Authorize the chair of the legislature to sign a 6-month extension lease for 2 State Street.
Move for discussion?
I'll second it. Discussion?
I don't know if anyone's here who can answer my question, but like, what is the plan, I guess? 6 months enough, 6 months not enough? Are they willing to stay beyond? Yeah.
I might as well just pull up a chair. My understanding is that the plan is to extend the lease for 6 months and that the individuals and departments that are remaining at 2 State Street, 3rd floor would then be moved out to the college. Planning is out there now. I'm not sure where IT is on that work, but the discussions I've heard are to move the balance would be HR, Ms. Marinelli, IT, Sheila and Amanda, county attorney, and then the chair, and then Shireen out to the college.
Question. I'll get to you, Mark. Question about the lease. I don't know what originally was a 1-year lease probably.
It was originally a 1-year lease, expired January 31st. This would be for a 6-month extension ending the end of July.
Do we have like options in there, like 6 months? Do there 6-month options in there, or is it just
One more 6-month option.
one more 6 months? Okay. Mark?
Fred actually asked my question about what the original lease, the length of it. And am I correct in my understanding we're already agreement then through an extension?
No, the original lease expired at the end of January, so we're 1 month and 11 days into the 6-month period. That's why it would expire at July 31st. So the new option would go from February 1st to the end of July.
Same rate, I assume.
3% increase, and I don't have the resolution in front of me, so it's a 3% increase.
Any other questions?
I guess I didn't
Yeah.
realize that we were moving to the college. Did anybody else miss that?
I didn't know that either.
Okay, I didn't realize that either. Okay. Good to know, thanks.
Absolutely.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for PW7. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Yeah.
Any abstentions? Appears we have a 4-1 vote that passes.
You got. I think that was, wasn't Bob.
Hans said no.
He's on this.
Hans
Oh, he is?
on the
Okay.
committee.
All right, I didn't.
I didn't hear you, but I assumed.
No, I didn't know. I'm just my first time in this committee. I didn't see nods. I apologize.
So, any other business for this committee? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Anybody against it? All in favor?
Questions, well, I guess we'll call a judicial public safety to order. We have all our members are present here tonight. Everybody on the committee is here and accounted for. First order of business is we have minutes to approve from February 11th meeting.
Pull them.
Second?
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes approved. We'll have some appointments coming up. These will go for the full batch. 3 individuals there for the traffic safety board. And then we'll go to the full legislative meeting. We'll start out with our department updates and first off, 911, Denise.
Good evening. Kind of boring this month. I don't have a lot. I have one resolution, which is for the HVAC at the backup center. And this is just a 6-month, contract with P&J for the HVAC. We just need to maintain it until we remove our equipment from there.
Right, JP one, motion for JP one,
Second, Mark?
motion a second, any discussion?
I'm going to repeat the discussion point I made last time. The fact that this is in the building work, it's a contract for maintenance, should really be under public works or buildings and grounds, I mean. And, you know, I do have questions about when is the anticipated equipment going to leave there, or when it's going to leave there, or do we know why? And if we do know what's, I can't ask Denise this, but what is the extension period? You know, why only 6 months, a year? I don't, too many questions.
Well, so unfortunately, I can't answer that because
Right.
I don't know when they're gonna move the equipment. We're
Right.
working on a plan, but until that's approved by the ledge, the equipment we have to maintain it because it has to be a temperature controlled environment.
And my only question was, how come this is under yours here? It should really be under buildings and grounds.
Oh, the only answer I have to that is I've always
That's
done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, I've always done those, so
Is this something that we should move to buildings and grounds or?
I'm happy to, yeah.
Well, I just, I guess my understanding of this is that it's a maintenance contract for the backup center only. And I'm assuming it would just fall under your, I'm not trying to, I think legislator Coleman is correct, but I'm just wondering, it's always been under yours in years past, if my memory serves me right.
That's correct. The only thing that was transitioned out of my budget was any of the IT infrastructure. That was all transitioned into IT maybe 6-7 years ago. But all the maintenance contracts have stayed under.
I was gonna say, wasn't it in your budget for maintenance? That's what I thought. I'm not, you know,
Yeah, I think-
you may be right.
I think the public safety building is, you know, it's the same kind of thing, but point is, you know, it depends on, I don't know, to me, it depends on who's making the calls and who's assessing the contract, right?
Mr. Chair, can I add something? Sure. Over the past few years, I've done a lot of these types of resolutions for building maintenance, and I've tried to push them over towards
Yes.
building and grounds. I really think that that's where they should be as well.
I agree.
So I have done these in the past, and that's why the one we saw previous meeting was under that.
Yeah, it makes
I have
sense.
done that in the past.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And then we have that person to ask questions of about the technicalities of contract.
So we would
I was
have-
making a point of it.
And I agree, but we'd have to make an amendment or move the money that she gets in her budget line and shift it to buildings and grounds, correct?
Not necessarily.
Thanks.
Okay.
It's that whoever's overseeing it has to be bringing it, but I'm sorry, Tom, I shouldn't have.
Go ahead.
No,
I do have another question that kind of leads up to this is, if we're going to have people going in there to maintain the system, who's authorizing, who's going with them, who's overseeing it? I know the discussion is that the basement there aren't any issues in the basement, but sometimes when you let people in, they go further than what they like to nose around and stuff. And I guess my question is, who's going to be the person overseeing it, letting them in the building, all that kind of stuff?
It's Ben, Shireen, or it was Tony had been handling it, or the maintenance team had been handling it. So moving forward, I mean, Shireen's always been the one to let Motorola in, any of our vendors. It's in the past, it's been Shireen.
I guess, that does put us in with nobody in that position right now, it's an unanswered question. Vito's kind of handle some of it, that would be under his duties right now, or? I guess, how soon is this due to be?
It needs to be serviced. We had a call on it. We had a contract and the vendor canceled the contract. So then we had a call on, we had an HVAC issue on it 2 months ago. Actually, it was last month. So they came and serviced it. So we need to get it under a maintenance contract. And if we decide to move the equipment, we can give them notice and cancel the contract. I did give them a heads up that I didn't know how long the equipment was gonna be there.
I don't know if we have enough, it sounds like we don't have enough time to streamline this in the right direction it needs to go.
My recommendation would be to leave it as is, undermine the monies in our budget, and then transition it in 2026. We'll transition any of the maintenance contracts into buildings and grounds, and that way the funding goes in there too. Because I do think that's a good idea. They're the ones that are called and they're the ones that generally go. In the past, it was Ed Eberhart. He was very fluent in all of our systems. So he generally would go and handle it, but so that probably does make sense.
I guess for now, we do have a motion and a second on the floor, correct?
Yes.
Any further discussion to go along with?
I think it'd be, hopefully, like Ways and Means would get those answered. That would help us moving forward.
Yes. Anything further?
Run it.
Yes, right. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed?
Aye.
4 and 1. Carried.
And I don't really have any updates on the backup center. We're still plugging along on a plan for the transition of that from Owasco. I've been working with HR on our help positions. I'll probably be bringing a couple more requests to approve help positions next month due to some upcoming retirements and resignations. And just for the communication system, these are just, FYIs. We had some issues with our UPS at our prime site that we're still working through. And we have had some recent issues with the antenna at Sterling, again, resolved, but just to kind of keep you apprised of what's going on.
You mentioned about the backup, moving it from Owasco, where are we going to?
That's to be determined.
Oh, okay.
We're still looking at
I
Auburn
just didn't
Fire.
know. It was
Yeah,
just-
no, we're still looking at Auburn Fire, but that's still to be
Gotcha.
determined.
Okay, I didn't know, I just,
Yeah,
when you said from, I was like, I thought maybe everyone else knew where it was.
no, that's still the kind of game plan is what we had talked about in the past.
That's fine, thank you.
Anybody, anything else for Denise?
Thank you.
Next up, Lloyd.
Good afternoon. You have my report that was submitted. I would just add that point number 4 is we were notified by New York State that Cayuga County would be eligible for another 187,000 up to March 31st of 2027. It's a extension of our existing contract, which is one of the resolutions today. So if there's any questions on my report or on that particular resolution, I'm here to answer. If not, I would have you consider those 2 resolutions.
Any questions for Lloyd before we get into resolutions?
And again, Aileen, I have to agree with you. We have a cleaning contract and I don't know if it belongs with Judicial or with buildings. So, but it's a cleaning contract. We did have them in the building. I thought that the cost was way too expensive. So I met with Amanda and we went back out again and renegotiated a better price. So this is a lease with the better price for the cleaning services.
And that's in the new offices?
It's in the new offices, covered completely by the state.
Is this, I'm sorry.
I was gonna put up saying that this was JP2 when we were gonna put it up for
I'll
discussion.
move it.
Second it for discussion.
All right.
Is this is this cleaning, I have to pull up maybe you can answer before I pull it up, but is this with a new company that don't use
No,
the
it's-
buildings, the same company?
it's
that
same
we use
company,
for
Clean
everybody
Tech.
else? Gotcha.
Yeah, we just renegotiated the lease.
Okay.
And again, I guess, it makes sense as far as whose department it should be under for cleaning. And if, we pass it along and then make a recommendation of looking into certain things like these that whether it's this committee or not, that have those get cleaned up.
Yeah, and like the question I would ask if buildings was here, like if we were in a different situation would be, I know in the past, other buildings have been unhappy with their cleaning, so what is written into the new contract, how, to be more, is there like, are people like keeping track, and would it be up to Lloyd to keep track about how everything's done and who's reporting back to Clean Tech and how can we improve? That's all.
And I think there will be a good discussion later and probably involving other parties, for example, Lynn, if there's a reason it's designated for budget lines or whatever. So.
Yeah.
Any further discussion on JP2? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? JP2 is carried.
JP3 is what I had previously mentioned. It's an extension with the increase of dollar amount. We have to have it signed by the chair of the legislature. So I'd ask for consideration on that as well.
Move it.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried also.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. All right, district attorney.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have any updates. I do have one resolution on, it's JP4. It's looking for approval to accept the new Strive Grant Award, and also create another assistant district attorney position, which would be fully grant funded through the Strive Grant. That would include all fringe. Also, there's an equipment line, so desk, computer, everything. So there's no cost whatsoever to the county. And then it also includes portion for training out of the county, because the Strive Grant through DCJS requires a lot of upfront training for the prosecutors and our grant coordinator. So that will fully cover any training, travel, any expenses related to that. I would note that I did meet with the personnel committee. This was approved through the personnel committee. And DCJS did approve our first application, our first draft that we submitted to them. Also, APD is getting significant funding from the Strive Grant. They presented that to City Council. My understanding is that did pass through City Council, that resolution. Their portion of the Strive Grant funding did pass. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I'll move it.
Second it, Mark.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
So the ever famous question we always have is when the grant runs out, the position runs out.
Correct, yes, and I put that in the resolution just to make sure that was clear. But we're aware that it is contingent on continued funding. I do have an applicant, and as long as this passes, I believe that she will accept the position, and she plans on starting in August if this is passed.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
The only thing I want to add is I just wanted to give a huge thank you to our Give Grant coordinator for writing this draft. This grant, it's not his job, but he is amazing at writing criminal justice grants. He did the full Give Grant and then the Strive Grant. So I just wanted to thank him. I truly don't think that we would get the funding for Give or Strive if he didn't really actively partake in the submitting to DCJS. So thank you to Peter Small. So thank you, everyone.
Good to hear.
We have Riley's next.
Based on the rotation of the day. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'll bounce over here. You have my report in front of you that was presented. I have 4 resolutions this evening if there are no questions.
Riley, forward in the
Other than I will just express my thanks to the legislature as a whole. I know we kind of ran through the grant this month's meeting related to the $490,000 from the State EMS Bureau. So my thanks goes to all of the legislators for their assistance in getting that passed. With that,
This will start out with JP8, authorizing Emergency Services Director to create and fill a fire coordinator position. And this is really not creating, it's kind of renaming a position or.
yes, why it is considered a create and fill is because this position goes back to being the Deputy Director of Fire and Rescue Services, not even prior to it being the Office of Emergency Management, but the Office of Civil Defense. The state recognized title is Fire Coordinator, and the incumbent who was in this position for many years referred to himself as such and operated as such. So it's merely a clerical change in changing the title of it. We've pushed it through civil service accordingly. It has been through the Personnel Committee, and this remains a budgeted part-time position, just with a change in title. There has not even been a change to the requirements or the position duty statement.
Move it, Mark.
Second,
Motion second, any discussion?
was this part of our budget discussion? Remind me. Did we know this at budget discussion time? I can't remember.
This was a retirement this was Larry Dygert's
Okay,
position.
thank you.
But there you go.
Got it.
That's the easiest
It
way to
rung the
say it.
bell.
No, Larry retired effective on the first of the month,
Gotcha.
and we're just trying to fill it and have the appropriate
Thank you.
title.
That clears it up. Thank you.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The bundle JP 9 and 10, unless there's anybody who wishes them separated out. JP 9 needs fill one part-time administrative office. Officer of Emergency Services title, the Cayuga County Office of Emergency Services. And JP 10, authorizing the Emergency Services Director to fill one part-time fire investigator. Fire investigator, I know he's that's a retirement as well.
That's a retirement as well. Going back to, I believe, your question, Aileen, we had a discussion during the budget time about one more part-time deputy
Yes.
coordinator versus one more part-time fire investigator.
Yes.
We had a retirement prior to even moving that budgeted vacancy forward. So this is replacing that retirement vacancy, and then we'll move forward with one of the others, hopefully after we get a fire coordinator hired.
Move the bundle.
I'll second the bundle.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. And lastly, JP 11. Authorizing chairperson of the legislature and the Cayuga County Emergency Services Director to accept the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services Hazardous Materials Emergency Preparedness Grant.
HMPG, that's a grant that is typically reserved for the use of the hazmat team. Many of you might know it as previously the LEPC or Local Emergency Committee grant. The state reorganized it underneath hazmat, and this is used for training and equipment for the county's hazmat team.
Move it, Mark.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
How much is that grant?
Roughly $15,000 with a 3%, with a $3,000 local cost share. I forget the actual hundreds. It's slightly different by about $120 from last year.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Okay. Mr. Thomas, probation.
Good evening. Any questions on anything in my report?
Questions? I know you have one resolution. If any of the other legislators have a question.
My one resolution, just to accept the Strive grant, similar to the DA's office, other than we're not filling any positions with it.
Second it, Mark.
So a second, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very. Thank you, Farrell.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, sure.
Got handouts tonight.
Did you bring the crayons?
Mr. Chair, do you mind if I join you at the table? Mind if I join you at the table? Sorry, I was looking at your handout here. So I don't know if you'd like to start with that or my report. So I'm going to start with the handout. So there's two draft copies of local law that I had brought concept to you at one of these meetings recently for the animal abuse registry. County Attorney Westfall has been helping me with a draft. The top copy that's not highlighted is the draft that Fred and I worked on. The other one has a couple of highlights that I was hoping you could take after today and read those, digest that a little bit. And I was hoping to connect with you prior to the next meeting and then bring this forward to the next meeting. But I wanted some input from this committee about whether or not we wanted to add a couple of highlighted sections there. I felt that it would be important to get some input from you, but this was drafted with help from Nick Laprizzi with the SPCA, myself, and then again, Fred. But I was just hoping that you could review the highlighted sections and maybe we could circle back to those next month and then hopefully move this forward. I think this would be very beneficial for our community. Wouldn't be a heavy lift to establish this registry. And I think it would serve certainly a beneficial purpose. There's no question.
Just briefly looking at it in the beginning, the registry the Cayuga County registry, does that mean that individuals or law enforcement, Onondaga County or Broome County could not have access to it?
So the registry would actually be a public spot on our website, our sheriff's office website. So anybody would have access to that. If someone is convicted of a crime involving animal abuse, the district attorney would provide that information to us, regardless of what agency initiated that investigation. But after the prosecution and conviction, we would get that information. We would put that information on our public website. And then that would allow anyone who is potentially selling or adopting an animal to somebody to look at that and determine if somebody's on there that could be trying to get that animal from them.
Thank you.
That would just be for convictions in our county.
Do we have somebody that's gonna oversee the registry? Is it gonna be out of your office or is it?
So my assistant would maintain our website and maintain that. I have talked to the district attorney about that. She would designate one assistant district attorney that would be a liaison with my assistant to make sure that we got that information and uploaded it to the site. We don't have a large number of convictions over the course of a year for those types of crimes, knock on wood. So it's like I said, I don't think it's going to be a very heavy lift, but it'll be pretty easy to maintain that from our office.
And again, you may or may not have this answer. I believe our current dog warden, the county is no longer, he retired. Is that true? I think.
So our animal cruelty investigator or
dog warden, animal, yeah.
So the SPCA did have pretty much full-time animal cruelty investigator who's no longer there. I don't want to speak for them, but I believe they are working to bring somebody new on into that role. So I'm hopeful that they will have somebody in the near future that will be doing those investigations again.
And they would have access to this.
Correct.
Very good. Thank you.
Good. As far as my report, I don't have anything to add other than the strike docs, which appears to be over. I know there's still some concern with staffing there and some challenges they have. It has impacted us locally in that state docs is not taking our state ready inmates from the jail right now. They've said that they won't start taking them again until March 31st, but I'm concerned that will probably keep getting extended out if they're having some staffing challenges as we move forward, if they continue. So I just wanted to mention, I think that we will probably see those numbers increase in our jail as they don't take them. Right now we have 11. We are compensated for those if they've been ready to go to state docs for at least 10 days and state docs doesn't take them by statute, by law. We're able to get compensated, I believe $100 a day for those inmates. So we will be compensated for that, but that'll grow our population. And we are continuing to seek additional board-ins. Right now, we're actually at 16 local board-ins from Tompkins County, Cortland County, and Oswego County. They've sent some inmates to us for boarding. So we're generating some revenue there along with our Fed revenue. But that's the only update I wanted to give you in addition to my report.
With the extra from, with the state not taking them right now, is that creating much of a burden on you, or is it your department?
Right now, it's manageable, and we've got space, so I think that we'll be okay for a while. If it went for an extended period of time, then that could be a little bit concerning, but right now it's not an issue.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear. They're ready to go to the state and the state doesn't take them. How much is it a day they pay us?
$100 by law.
They get 3 meals?
They do. They get everything everybody else does.
Good thing they're not senior citizens.
I want to comment on that. If they have medical situations, we only get reimbursed $100 a day. There's a gentleman right now, ready for state prison. He is getting medical care on several days a week for certain for dialysis. So we are footing that bill.
We also have that same issue with parolees that are, if a state parole violator comes back to our facility, we're saddled with those costs as well before they go back to state docs while their cases are being adjudicated, if they're rearrested or if we're just holding them for the state until they go back.
Those are our responsibility to provide those services.
The state, forces us locally to incur those costs.
That includes your medication, correct?
Correct.
But you can control the number that we get, right? Because you've taken them from other counties currently because you have the space? I mean, is there a time when you can say no vacancy?
So two different things. So the people that we voluntarily bring in to board in, those counties and municipalities pay for their medical care or their prescriptions and all those things. That's different.
Okay.
But any state-ready inmate that the state's not taking, that's forcing us to hold them, we're saddled with paying for those costs.
So that's just a forced thing. They're just like, we're sending you 3, we're sending you 4, we're sending you 8.
Parole violators, if they're out on parole and they violate their parole or they get rearrested and they're likely going back to state docs to serve out the rest of their sentence or serve a new sentence, those are.
Like leading, they would with you.
Right. We don't get reimbursed from the state in those situations. We incur those costs.
Right.
And we really don't have any option in those cases. We have to hold them, but.
Nothing further, we'll move into your resolutions. JP 6, authorize the chair of the Cayuga County Legislature and Cayuga County Sheriff to enter into an agreement with Dagabosis to provide vocational training and training to the incarcerated population.
Move it.
Second it, Mark.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Other resolution, which was pushed from last month, tabled to this month's meeting, that'd be 2-25 JP 6, tabled in February to March JPS. Authorize the chair of the Cayuga County Legislature and the Cayuga County Sheriff to sign a memorandum of the Sheriff Employees Association of Cayuga County, authorizing 2 administrative lieutenants and a captain to separate from the bargaining unit and form their own.
I'll move it.
Nightingale, second.
In a second, discussion.
I have a question. Can we executive session this? Can I call for an executive session?
On negotiations with a particular union, absolutely.
Great.
I'll second the motion if you want to.
Motion in a second for executive session. All in favor, vote executive session.
Aye.
Aye.
Should we?
Are we moving or?
Yeah, we would have to move.
Entertain a motion to come back to committee.
Move it.
Second.
Second.
Anybody opposed?
Anybody opposed?
Sorry, I didn't mean that.
Okay. Back out of committee, executive session. We're still on table JP resolution from last month, which was JP 6. We did have a motion and a second for discussion, correct?
That's correct.
Yes. So we have to make another motion.
Any further discussion, if I could be so bold?
I would recommend to table this or refer this to Ways and Means. Can I do that this time?
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
And then we're looking for a second?
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second to refer JP 6 to Ways and Means. Discussion?
I am interested to talk to our labor attorney about this and have everyone be educated on it.
We'll then reach out to council and see if they could see if they can be present at Ways and Means next week.
Speak.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Second for. But Ways and Means discussion.
You just motioned it for.
We're referring.
Referring it to Word.
Oh, okay. I know the sheriff wants to speak, so I don't know if it's appropriated, legally and appropriate at this time.
If it's
Up to the chair.
It's up to the chair, if you'd like.
yes.
So I have worked with Fred and Bon Schoenig and King on this particular issue. I was hoping that I could be part of that discussion at Ways and Means. But I just wanted to say quickly relative to this resolution that this split is, I'm looking to support splitting 3 administrative staff, obviously, from the SEAC union. I know there's concerns about creating another bargaining unit to negotiate with. However, I believe that the benefits outweigh the additional time it will take to negotiate with them. And I think that the county, and certainly me in my role as sheriff, get the benefit of taking them out of a bargaining unit that we ask them to oversee administratively. My concern is that, and I'm not saying necessarily that it's happening with the 3 people that are in these roles now, but when they have to not only levy discipline, but they have to enforce policies and procedures and things that sometimes aren't popular within a paramilitary organization, and certainly within a department within our county that's one of the biggest budget-wise and sets us up for some of the most liability. I don't want people in those roles to be more concerned about, whether or not they're going to have repercussions from their bargaining unit. I would much rather have them not have to be concerned with that and be able to administer their jobs and do what they do without having that concern. So to me, it makes much more sense for them to be out of that unit. I'm sure that the 3 people in that unit would much rather bargain with the 3 of them rather than trying to worry about a much broader unit trying to, negotiate for them in a manner that they feel is best for them. But I see this as a way to make sure that they're not more concerned, or whoever falls in those roles in the future, more concerned with what's going on in that bargaining unit than they are administering, their jobs and making sure that they're enforcing discipline and policy and procedure that's good for the county, good for me as sheriff, and good for our community. So I just wanted to add that, but I'll certainly, if allowed, I would like to be there, when that's discussed further. And again, I've been involved with Bon Schoenig and King and Fred relative to some of these discussions.
I guess we have a still motion and second for the referral.
Right. I didn't know if there's any other discussion or if it's ready for a vote.
Is there any other discussion? We vote on the referral, correct? Not
That's
the
correct.
original.
Yeah, we're voting on the referral to Ways and Means next week.
So all in favor of referral?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ways and Means. You got something else?
Nope. Yep. Stopped it.
Anything else for the sheriff?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think
Oh, we got one more left.
Yeah, well, thanks for waiting. Deborah, stop DWI.
Just a couple of comments on my report. I just did want to once again thank everybody who's been helpful with me in this transition. I sat down with Lloyd today. I've spoken to the sheriff's, APD, the DA's office, Lynn, Shireen. Everyone's been very helpful. There's a lot of information that I need to learn, but I feel like I'm in a good position, and that's thanks to a lot of the people that have been part of that team getting me to where I'm at. So just, I wanted to thank all of those individuals. I also wanted to let you know that I was able to amend the 2025 stop DWI plan that was due back in October. The states allowed us to use more funding towards administrative costs, so that will give us $5,000 extra to offset the cost of my salary. And I've already let Lynn know that as well. So that was good news to really have some more state money to offset the county share of my salary. That's what I have for updates. If anybody has any questions on that, if not, we could go to a couple more about my resolution.
Does anybody have any questions? No, we'll go right to JP7, authorizing disbursement of planned annual appropriations to the Cayuga County Schools for after prom events for the academic year of 2024-2025.
Move it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Hi,
Any opposed? Carried.
thank you.
Does anybody have any other business to come before this committee? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. So more.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.